Welcome to Diamond Talks, Anthony. Today we're going to have a insightful conversation. For those who are new to the channel, we make mental conversation and content that's going to be beneficial to your personal development and to your well-being. However, in today's conversation, we'll be talking about the power of connection, how strong relationships impact our mental health, right? So I want to highlight the importance of building strong, supportive relationships and how that contributes to our emotional health and our resilience, right? I think that it's really important for us to identify that we have unique abilities. However, we need to be able to connect with others to be able to have, like I said, the benefits of our mental health, right? So let's dive into our first section in regards to the introduction, right? The human need for connection. Have you ever felt as if that you're going through something alone, even if you're surrounded by people? In a fast-paced society, it's easy to feel disconnected, but meaningful relationships are more than just comfort. They're essential for our mental health. And in this video, like I said, we're going to be diving into human connection, how it strengthens our emotional well-being, and why nurturing relationships can help one of the most powerful tools of our mental health, right? Giving us that wellness. So a key point I want to dive into off the rip is we are wired for connection. As social creatures, we thrive on meaningful relationships. So like I said, it's really important for us to utilize our unique abilities, connect with other people to be able to develop those great connections. Next key point, we're going to be talking about loneliness versus solitude, right? So feeling alone is different from being alone, right? And loneliness can be as harmful as smoking 15 cigarettes a day, right? So loneliness is something that, that isolation, being stagnant, living in that your own world, their own bubble. We got to recognize that there's a lot of disparities that come with loneliness, and we have to regulate that by connecting with others, right? And our next key point, we're going to be talking about the purpose of the video, right? So our purpose of the video is to discover how strong relationships support mental health, right? And how it fosters them in your life, right? Like I said, I don't want us to be tore from the floor up. I don't want us to be going through it. And I don't want us to be isolated, right? Causing that loneliness. So I want us to be able to develop ways we're able to connect with others, so we're able to have a positive well-being in regards to our mental health. Our next segment, we're going to be talking about the science of connection and mental health, right? So diving into the science of our brains and how that, how this thing works. So let's dive into a closer look in regards to what's happening in our brains and our bodies and how we're able to connect with others and how it protects our mental health. So our first key point, we're going to be talking about the brain chemistry boosts, right? So positive relationships trigger oxytocin, so that bonding hormone, and reducing cortisol, which is that stress hormone, right? So by us connecting with other people and what's happening into the brain, by us connecting with other people, reducing stress, and we're reducing, being torn from the floor, but we're also at the same time we're developing that bond hormone as mentioned. Next, we're going to be talking about emotional regulation. So talking to someone that you trust can calm your brain's threat response, right? So having people that you feel conducive in a good environment, right? That feel healthy, that obviously you can trust. This is going to really help you have better emotional regulation, helping you feel at ease, calm, and in a good stance. Our next is going to be resilience through relationships, right? So strong social ties help us cope with stress, grief, and trauma. Through our life, we're going to be experiencing various things at various moments, right? We don't have the landscape in regards to what's going to be coming next. However, by having relationships with people and developing that resilience is going to be helping us, regulate our emotions and have better insight and control over ourself, our mind, and our body, right? In addition to this, I want to dive into a research insight from a 2021 study in Nature Human Behavior found that individuals with strong social networks were significantly less likely to experience anxiety and depressive symptoms, right? So like I said, when we're connecting with other people, this is helping us get away from loneliness, anxiety, and depressive symptoms, which is crucial to our well-being. Next segment, I want to dive into how connection impacts mental health, right? So as mentioned, this is important. This is going to help us not, feel down, isolated, and so on and so forth. So when we lack meaningful connections, our mental health suffers. So let's dive into some key points that affect the mind and the body. First key point we're going to be talking about is increased risk of depression and anxiety, right? So chronic illness, or loneliness rather, is a major risk factor, right? Next is going to be reduced self-worth, right? So disconnection can lead to self-doubt and feelings of unworthiness. Our next key point is going to be sleep and physical health, right? So isolation is linked to poor sleep, cardiovascular issues, and reduced immune function, right? So all of these things, like I said, affect the mind and the body when we're not proactively having conversations and developing connections with other people. Even in a 2018 report We found that family foundation found that adults with fewer social interactions had significantly higher levels of um, psychological stress or distress, right? So we got to take in consideration, like I said, social interactions are important, and by developing them, it's going to really help us have better wellness in our well-being. Next segment I want to dive into is going to be the benefits of strong, supportive relationships. It's very important for us to have diverse friendships across age, race, and backgrounds, sharing different meaningful moments, helping us developing more empathy and insights and perspective across the board. However, connection isn't just about preventing loneliness, it's about thriving. When we feel seen, heard, and valued, everything changes, right? So I want us to take that into consideration. However, key points we're going to be diving into is going to be improved mental health, right? So this is why we're doing this. We want to make sure that our well-being is on point, so we're able to not just take care of ourselves, but make the impact and help other people out there as well. However, relationships act as emotional safety nets, right? So this is going to be able to significantly help our mental health. Next is going to be greater life satisfaction, right? So supportive bonds increase joy and meaningfulness in our life. So I want us to take that in consideration when it comes to greater life satisfaction. Next is going to be better coping skills. So being able to talk through challenges reduces the overwhelming factor. So instead of us, getting into an emotional spiral, we're just going through it and we just don't know how to respond. It's really important for us to be able to have coping mechanisms and skills to be able to know how to alter our self, body, emotions, and etc. Next is going to be, sense of belonging, right? So when we feel more confident and secure, when we know we're not alone, this is going to be able to make us feel, at ease and having a sense of that belonging. Overall, let's slide right into a 2020 study in regards to the Journal of Health Psychology found that social support was strongest predictor of emotional well-being during times of crisis, right? So when it comes to that social support, it's going to be the biggest thing in regards to helping us develop some type of emotional well-being in those times of difficulty, right? Other people have emotions, we have emotions, and we're able to develop bonds and connections and by having that initiation of social interacting. So we got to make sure that we are advocating for ourselves. We're seeking, support groups and supportive people that we trust, that we feel conducive with, so we're able to really help our well-being in any time, any place, in any crisis. Next segment, we're going to be talking about how to build and maintain meaningful connections. I really want us to apply these things, but let's be able to maintain it. It's going to be able to help have us develop that significant resilience as we're going through various things in our lives, right? So you don't need to have a huge network. Just a few strong, healthy relationships can make a huge difference in your life, in your world. However, here's going to be a few ways we're able to deepen our connections. First key point, we're going to be talking about practice vulnerability, right? That openness. So let people see the real you, and it builds trust, right? So one thing that I realize in life is one thing that's bigger than the power of love is authenticity, right? So people connect with you when you're real, when you're your true self, and you're really being authentic. So I really want us to practice being vulnerable. Sometimes it's tough. We're following society, we're following our friends group, we're always trying to fit in. But why accommodate for people that don't really understand you or willing to even know you, right? When you're not even being your true self, right? So forget about all the people got going on and really think about your needs, think about where you're trying to get, and just really try to develop that openness by being your true self, because that's where you're going to just feel at ease, you're really going to feel comfortable, and you're going to really feel the shift. Next is going to be present, right? So actively listening and undivided attention fosters closeness. So when you're, maintaining these relationships with other people, the same way you want people to treat you, I want you to do the same thing for them. So I really want you to try your best to be present. Anxiety slows down, depression slows down when you don't focus on, what's next or the future or past and all that type of stuff. When you're just present, you just focus on what's in front of you, you're going to be more at ease. Next key point is going to be reach out, right? So like I said, advocate. Don't hesitate, right? So don't wait. Take the first step to starting or rekindling a connection, right? Something that someone told me before, I had a conversation recently, is having a little social anxiety when it comes to speaking to women or whatever. We got to realize that we all human, right? We all have, like I mentioned earlier, these social connections and we have these emotions behind us, and you know what I mean, it ain't nothing to really just really, you know what I mean, to break that by just, you know, being authentic and rekindling that connection by just being yourself, initiating a high, right, and just moving forward, right? Next is going to be cultivate trust. So show consistency, show the kindness, and show empathy. And that's really going to be able to help you cultivate trust with people, right? If you're being sleazy, you're being someone that doesn't have that integrity, you're being something that you're not, people are going to see that, and people are going to see the inconsistency, and they ain't really going to really be messing with you, right? So I really want you to be able to try to cultivate trust. Like I said, showing consistency, kindness, and empathy. It's really trying to understand people, and that's going to really be helping you out to developing those positive bonds. Next is going to be setting boundaries. This is major, right? Because when you're starting to level up in life, you're starting to change, you know what I mean? You really want to make sure that you're having a positive, conducive environment for yourself so you're able to thrive in. And by protecting yourself is going to be boundaries, right? So healthy connections include that mutual respect and space, right? So no means no. When someone says, I need a break, I need time to do my thing and recollect myself, have solitude, that silence, you able to really just, you know what I mean, do my inner personal development and my self-care work. I gotta do me, I gotta put myself first. Make sure you're having this type of attitude by setting boundaries. When it comes to some research insights from a 2019 Harvard study of adult development spanning over 80 years found that quality of relationships more than wealth or career success was the best predictor of happiness and wealth, right? So when we're developing meaningful connections, when we're not focused on materialized possessions, we ain't taking the stuff with us on a real note, right? When we're just focusing on these relationships, it's really gonna help us have more meaning and happiness in our life. And it shouldn't take us to be in our elderly phase to us to realize, oh, I need friends, I need family, I need connection, I need motion, right? We should be able to recognize these things in our present form right now and moving accordingly for that proper happiness and health. So moving on to our conclusions, wrapping things up, I just want to make sure that you recognize that you're not alone, right? I really want us to make sure that we're finding people that we can trust and making sure that we're, you know, developing these connections by, like I said, really being authentic, finding people that, you know, we're able to develop that conducive environment with and maintain that by strategies and different things that we talked about today, right? So human connection is the most powerful healer. You don't have to face it, you know, life's challenges alone, whether it's with a friend, family member, or even a support group, or just any kind of stranger, right? Reaching out can change your life significantly. And like I said, you're not alone and your mental health matters. And by putting that first, it's going to help you significantly. If you found this video beneficial, please throw a thumbs up, like, share, subscribe, comment if necessary, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you for thriving. Take it easy.